Welcome to Taking Stock. It's 12 o'clock. It is the 5th day of 2024 already. 5 days in, Johnny boy. You're all right.
Not too bad, how you doing?
Feeling a bit rough, actually.
Oh dear.
You
Don't
know,
go
generally
around.
people say, how you doing? Fine, thanks. I used to listen to, years ago, an old BBC Radio Wales show where a late night show, old guy, this guy used to come on, Chris Needs, and his audience were old people. And when he used to ask, how are you on the phone? They used to tell him, really in detail, old people about their ailments. It's a great, it's like sitting in a doctor's waiting room. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to the markets. Bit of a tricky day in the markets today, isn't it? It's not very nice. I mean, I think we've, a bit of a fallout from the, American markets. They've had a good run. They're
Yeah, it's
rolling over
been
a bit. Bonds actually are also, bond yields are rising a bit. I'll show you that in a bit. But I mean, there we are. FTSE 100 down almost 1%. FTSE 250 almost down at 1.5%. AIM all share down 0.85 cent. Rise today, WPP rising yesterday as well. I did say yesterday. It's very telling actually. Once these start to rally, the advertisers, maybe the recovery's on. Because
well, I mean,
well, the
they've been
recovery's on.
absolutely battered, haven't they? I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely. Yeah,
that sector.
Centrica. We got Fallers mining groups. Ocado down, John.
It's it behaves like a penny share, up and down.
Who knows what the
I
hell?
will avoid using any another analogies.
Yeah. So the thing is, right? It said a while back. Do you remember when the news was very gloomy? And by the way, welcome everyone who's just joined us. Thank you very much for joining us on this Friday afternoon, last one of the week. But if you could hit that thumbs up button if you like the show, and don't forget to subscribe. It's very important. Those metrics to us. I don't know if they're that important really, but if you could. But what is very important is download the Vox Markets app, voxmarkets.co.uk/app. So, a while back, let's go. I'm just looking at Bitcoin there, but I look at the bonds here. Look at the bond yields. Look at this. So we've cut, let's be honest, it isn't starting a downtrend, but for some reason, last few days, maybe just technical bounce maybe, but they are rallying a little bit. And of course, when that happens, the markets tend to go down.
But it's risk off, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's risk off again. It's a very tricky time. I don't think anyone's really that sure what comes next. I mean, we had some minutes from the Fed, and we are expecting some rate cuts at some point this year. Some economic data looks all right, but in some economic data looks awful. There's so much geopolitics to consider that. I mean, it's a very, very tricky time. What's going on in the Red Sea? Obviously shipping has now been massively affected by these drone strikes on commercial shipping in the Red Sea, the Suez Canal. It's being essentially.
Why can't they just these guys, Maersk and all these people, the big companies that shipping through there, right? Why can't they just hire a couple of XSS guys?
Well, they do, don't they? That's what they do. But it's not enough. I mean, so you potentially got some more inflationary pressures building there. That will potentially come through later in the year. So, yeah, I mean, it's not. I mean, there was this thought that the worst is behind us, but I still think there's a lot of
the thing is, what you mentioned there, in fact, I don't know if you saw yesterday. I did say yesterday, I should have called the show A Tale of Two Retailers, because we had Next and JD Sports.
Well,
and, Next came out barnstorming upgrades there, and JD blamed weather and the promotional items more sold and margins got hit. But Next, some of the Next warnings actually were about, now, we have to look at what the problems are. If the problem is rising unemployment and slowing growth, that's not bad. Central banks can deal with that, and that will bring inflation down. Now, if it's like Suez Canal, which they did mention, and they say it's an extra 3,500-mile journey around the Cape of Good Hope in Africa, if that's a rising price again, that's not what we want, because that's inflation. We don't want that.
Spot shipping rates are, I think they're up about sort of 150+%. In the wake of this, the other problem you've got, of course, is the other side of the world. Panama now is struggling too. Hasn't got enough water in it. so you've got if it doesn't rain. Well, it's certainly pouring around here, or it has been. But
I was going to say they could borrow some of our rain last night. Me and the wife were outside last night like idiots, trying to sweep water away from the patio because it was come up towards our sort of bifold doors there, and it was going in the house. It was coming like, and so we were just sweeping away like crazy. I thought, what are we doing? We're like maniacs. But I thought, so I can't believe, and it seems to be happening more and more. But but I'm saying the the thing is, central banks can stimulate growth by just dropping interest rates, but they, like I said, they can't really tackle inflation that effectively. It takes a long time. So if that starts going back up, that is a worry. But what's not a worry is what they want to happen is slow the economy down to bring prices down. But like I said, if it goes the other way, they're in a bit of trouble there. But
yeah, it's next numbers are interesting. That was a big upgrade. But then what you've got to remember about next is that they always underguide. Always. You'd have thought the market would have worked this one out by now. It's been going on for a very, very long time.
That's what you want, though, isn't it? What you want a CEO, largely, AIM companies, the CEOs overpromise a bit and underdeliver. But you want a CEO that underpromises and overdelivers, and that's what you want.
But it's what they always do. It's, they always upgrade on the basis that they plan for the worst and deliver better. But it's clever. It's a trick in plain sight, and it works every time.
Yeah.
But next is a big retailer, so that there's obviously some life left in the consumer in the UK. Yeah, JD slightly worrying, but I see that potentially as an opportunity. I've spoken about that before. I like the company. Trainers will never go out of fashion. There's some pressures at the moment, but those shares are going to get cheaper and cheaper. I don't even know what the rating is at the moment. Let's have a look. But I reckon they're sub 10 forecast PE. I would guess.
Yeah, no, but I said yesterday when I was looking, I love fishing stocks, and so what I did a while back, but a couple of years back, I looked at what are the best performing stocks for the last 5-10 years, and I looked into them, and JD Sports was one of them.
Yeah,
and in fact, Boohoo was one of them as well, before the fire. But also, Game Workshop was one of them, and essentially, what they all have is that their top line growing was dropping through net profit was growing by 20% every year, pretty much, and so it's one of those star stocks you want to hold of, and when it comes back, you think, okay, let's keep an eye on this. Of course, you're never going to get the rise you had. Just before I go to the JD Sports chart quickly, that's the S&P 500, right, in America, and it is nuts. That's the all-time high ever in the S&P 500, and it's a smidge off it. I think they're literally getting a bit ahead of themselves with rate cuts, aren't they? I mean, it needs to roll over and come down a bit because I just think it's gone bananas. I know a lot of it's, 20% of that index is the Magnificent Seven, but nevertheless,
what's that
it's got ahead.
Apple's been thumped in the last few days, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been downgraded, but because they're saying for a long time, it's like how many more sort of iPhones can be sold, because the incremental improvement in every iPhone is tiny. What is it? They do these massive 2-hour-long presentations, and essentially it boils down to the camera's a bit better and the battery's a bit longer.
They're good at marketing. Big tech is good at marketing.
I know, but what I do like is a services thing because they do get you on the storage, and that's very clever. Because, like I said, we've upgraded our storage on Google and Apple, and because delete. You don't have to go through thousands of photographs of stuff one by one to save a couple of quid a month. It's pointless. So you end up just saying, "Oh, I'll have 2 terabyte rather than 1 terabyte," and there's a couple of extra quid. But you get like hundreds of thousands of people doing that. Every month, and it adds up, doesn't it? The services element is very good. So anyway, JD Sports for that. So, like I said, a big uptrend here, and it's come from like 2 pence to 2 quid, something like that, in the last 5-10 years. So it's an amazing return. You're never going to get a return again. But like I said, it's a good running company, and we'll see where it goes. But it's in a bit of a tricky situation. Anyway, but
also, I mean, this goes back to the market is not the economy. This is a big company. This is FTSE 100, and that profit warning took 20% off the shares. The impact of the economy is not yet in the price of all of these shares, for sure.
Yeah, you think it's going lower? Yeah.
Well, it's just I don't buy this argument that everything everything that we can expect economically, recession wise. And the impact on individual companies is in the price of companies. That would suggest otherwise. That big sell off, that gap down. Look at it.
Yeah, no,
everyone by surprise.
We've said before, though, haven't we? I think if you are consumer facing, you've got to be careful. There's going to be I said this, for a while now, I can't see people spending this year like they did last year when they've got cost of living carries on, and like I said, regardless of the rumour of interest rates coming down. I think it's 1.6 million are going to go into higher mortgages this year, and they're starting to, and regardless, they may be a little bit lower than they were going to be, but they're still high. A lot of people on like 2% mortgages, they're still going up to 5%, 6%, something like that. So that's going to be a big cut. And so I think I said yesterday, really, 101 basic economics. When you have something like JD Sport now selling less, pretty much, and people being laid off, maybe not spending, or they'll lay people off, and that'll be a downward cycle. So you always find downturns, accelerate a little bit in the real world. So if you are facing, and you've got to be really sector careful. Has it been sold off?
Yeah.
Is it priced in? The house builders, it was priced in. I think they have a roll of it. They've valued it crazy. And that's what I said before. The house builders, when everyone was so, saying, oh, this awful, awful. Taylor Wimpey is valued by 84% since the low. That's, it's phenomenal. And so it's almost like when you have this, all the bad news, this is why we're doing this today pretty much, because, let's look at another unloved sector.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't buy this, all the bad news, because JD's profit warning would suggest otherwise.
No, I know, but you've got to be sectors. Let's be honest, for 2 years they've been going down, this house builders pretty much. So, you've got to say it has sort of been priced in a little bit because it's 2 years of down, whereas JD Sports really hasn't gone down for 2 years. It probably needs a bit more, but yeah, as always, you've got to be sort of. But so what we said is, let's have a look at another sector where seemingly there's no optimism there.
Sorry, just going back to JD Sports. One other thing, if you actually looked at that chart, there's been the performance over the last calendar year, up until the profit warning, was spectacular, and that's something we've seen across.
Well, it hasn't. Look,
go from late 22, late 22, to late 23. So after the sell-off, cost of living crisis. Down to late 22, October 22. You've had a spectacular recovery since then. The shares have doubled.
Oh yeah, but they're still even down from the high. They're still down like 20%.
Well, yeah, but that was the whole sector sell-off during the cost of living crisis. What you've actually seen is that's the whole sector has had a big boost as well from a massive fall in container rates, from shipping costs, from logistics. Now, and going back to what we're talking about with what's going on in the Suez Canal, the Red Sea, that tailwind is now potentially becoming a headwind again for this sector. That wasn't in the price.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what's funny as well? Just going down to what's his name? One up on Wall Street. These shirts, right, from Next. I don't even realize I'm shopped from Next. That's how good Next are, really. I don't you just get something. They're always quite reliable. In fact, we went to Cardiff for Christmas to meet some friends there, and we ended up going into Next. My wife bought some trousers and all that stuff. And I said, "Oh, JD Wetherspoon yesterday." I said, "Profit warning," and she's not surprised. They're very expensive.
JD's fault.
And so it's very expensive. Yeah, that's the first reaction. But Next is always quite reliable, quite reasonable, and good quality.
Got it. They're class X. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
Anyway, so the sector we're looking at today, it's what do we say? It was this unloved sector. Will it rally like the house builders? In fact, let's see if there's any comments here first. Oh, lots of comments. There we are. Sorry. Comment by all means. Get involved. That's the point of the live show. Mike Berry says, been thinking about Destiny Pharma RNS yesterday. I like that, Mike. It's over 24 hours. Destiny attending the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference next week. Yeah, I mentioned that yesterday. The RNS ensures that they're in the shop window ahead of the event. Go on.
Do you know what I think I've noticed today? Actually, if you look at the full list of movers and shakers on the index, the big moves today, a lot of them are all in the healthcare sector. Yeah. So you've got a massive move. Trellis Health, Reneuron, Pharma, C4X Discovery.
Do you know what? Well, listen, literally, do you know I got this fancy stocks shares league? I looked yesterday. I thought it was a glitch with the website because someone doubled their money yesterday.
Angle.
Angle. Yeah, the guy at Angle PLC. So, but by the way, if you want to join in, by all means, championinvestor.co.uk. But literally, I thought it was a glitch. I thought it's some kind of share consolidation that had gone on, and it hadn't. He just basically a day before Angle came out with their results, he plowed all his money into it, and so he doubled his money.
That's amazing. Do you know what? You could have actually made a lot of money on the day yesterday. It's actually worth having a look at this chart. It's very unusual.
Yeah,
you have to look at the angle chart.
AGL.
Because they had some sort of trial success. Yeah. Look at the 1 day. Look at the 1 day chart. This is very, very odd. Because what seemed to happen was, the news came out. It's very positive. Not that I understand it. This is a very science-led company, and I the science is beyond me. But actually the chart, it just ticked up all day. So I looked in the morning, it was up about 30%. Looked at lunchtime, it was up about 60. By the end of the day, it was up 100, 150 or whatever. It's insane.
Well, I checked on the site. So when did this guy buy this? And he literally bought on the third, it was the day before. There's no better timing than that. But it's like, I got inside information or
you
what?
could have made some fabulous money on this intraday yesterday because, as I say, it just kept climbing. Usually you just get a boom and then a sort of trickle along, but this was a hell of a move. But then if you look at the long term price, it's really moving. You know, that 130%.
Well, look at that. I mean,
in the grand scheme of where it's been, it's tiny.
Even now, it's still not above sort of 2023 January start of the year. It's been going down for the year, but it's a nice rally there.
But why the whole sector's moving, I'm not entirely sure. There is a lot of good news coming out of UK healthcare, UK biotech.
C4XD came out with a upfront milestone payment from AstraZeneca, 11 million. Reneurons rallying. I think it's just in sentiment. A lot of these, look at them, a lot of them rallying today.
Yeah, but I mean, the C4XD news was 2 days ago. That's what I mean. It's a trend. It's becoming entrenched as a trend, and there's a lot of good news coming out of this sector. It's really bombed out, and it's worth a look, I would suggest.
Exactly, there's another sector's bombed. I mean, like I said, they are higher risk because these are literally pre-revenue pretty much stocks. I mean, if you look at these are literally been hammered for like years, and that kind of timing yesterday, the guy getting on the day before yesterday, phenomenal. What? So I don't know how he did that, but even that, if you'd held that,
sometimes you get lucky, don't you?
Yeah, C4XD, if you'd held that, look at it. I mean, it's down for year. I held that back in the day. I really liked it, but then literally it's just gone down and down. Of course, they're burning a lot of cash. These companies, well, it depends what company it is, but most preclinical or clinical study biotechs have to burn cash to develop their programs. Anyway, sorry, let me just quick. So Destiny Pharma there, Mike Barry, yes. RBG, Mr. C says figures haven't been taken very well today.
No, we'll come on to them in a minute.
We'll have a look at that. Yeah, they are shutting down some bars and stuff. They're not profitable, which is a good thing, but it does smack of negative sentiment a little bit. Riffisoft says, I sold Croda this morning. I thought they were a quality company. I should have sold a while back. I think I'm slowly getting better at selling. Yeah. If you got a company of that, something I think sometimes cut fast, really. Big Mrs. D, Panama Canal having low water level issues yet, unlike my patio. Great to see Cautious Bear, John, and Dirty Trey. Informer's having a go at me, right? Informer, stop having a go because you're into Bitcoin and crap coins, and I had a go at them yesterday. I think it collapsed. Now you're having a go at me. It's like I'm not a dirty trader. I hold stocks for at least one day. If you look at the stocks I hold, I've held stocks for a Truefin, for example, over 3 years. I've had Destiny Pharma for over a year, haven't I? So it's like, that's not trading, is it? But if I make a mistake, I'll get out. If I think I made a mistake, I will get out quickly. Should we worry that both of you, John, live on floodplains?
I don't live on a floodplain. It's what's happening here is that there's basically so much water in the ground that it can't take any more, and it's flowing off of farmers' fields. Farmers are not maintaining their ditches because there's no enforcement by the.
Are you hearing this, farmers? Maintain your ditches.
Maintain your ditches. Give the water somewhere to go, because at the moment it's just going onto the roads. It's absolute carnage. Yeah.
Justin wears Crocs. He's prepared for floods. And listen, he was outside yesterday.
I got willies.
I had my ankles in water in my Crocs. It was like my feet were cold when I came in. No, I tell you that now. Okay, let's look at the sector here, John. So this sector is leisure, isn't it? Now, I'm sorry I can't pump the picture up any further, but we've got Mitchell's and Butler, Wetherspoon, Young & Co. Brewery, Fuller Smith and Turner, Loungers, Marston, City Pub, various eateries. I need to think about specifying that brand a bit better.
Yeah, I can't remember what they do.
Well, it's eating, I think, food. So Host Mall, Revolution Bars, Nightcap, that's what I was trying to think of. Nightcap's got a bit of debt as well. I mean, bars do tend to have a bit of debt. I had to cut this short, this picture on, but because I couldn't fit on the screen. But if you look at debt on the sorry, I'm not sharing the screen. Sorry, what the hell am I doing here? I do apologise. There we are. So there they are. Let me try and pump this up. If I can. I can't.
Don't worry. It's a lot of data on here. It's not. Yeah, so it's not really a screen so much as a sort of collection of KPIs.
So essentially, what would you go for there? I mean,
well, I tell you what, I would actually go for
lounges.
Lounges.
Well, you've
lounges. We've spoken about it before, and actually if you look down this list, so there's various metrics on here. So, what we're looking at is performance. So there has been a rally in the sector, or certainly parts of the sector already. So, if you look, City Pub is the best performer, but that's been taken out, or being taken out. You've got Mitchells and Butler doing very well. I was going to restrict my sector to the subsector.
Looks at Mitchells and Butler. All right, yeah, look at that. That's look at that. You can see there straight away. Just whack on a 200-day moving average. You won't catch the bottom 200-day moving average, but it'll show you the just general trend.
Yeah,
of and literally nice rally there from the bottom there.
Yeah, but I mean, not the whole sector hasn't performed. So. You've got some companies that have not done so well. They tend to be in the food.
What about JD
sector.
Wetherspoon?
Wetherspoon's done very well this year. Wetherspoon's up 80% this year.
Well, maybe a bit late on this then. We're a bit late on this sector, John. We need to sector this hammered.
Not necessarily, because
it rolled over a little bit, but it's come down from. But it hasn't doubled from the lows.
If you go back to that long picture, that long view, it's way below where these shares have traded at in the past.
Yeah,
and actually, if you then look at the spreadsheet, and you should be able to hopefully blow the image up when you have a look at the page. A lot of them are still trading below their book value.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of intrinsic value left in these companies to be had. So you look at Mitchells & Butler, that's trading at 70% book value. You look at Young.
So this column here, 23. That's the share price performance so far.
2023.
Yeah,
that was last year.
Price to NAV. Oh, look at the price to NAV. Yeah, look at that. So I want a good performance that hasn't done very well. So
you've got some
Marston's.
You've got some value. You've got some value there.
They got a lot of debt there. 730. Yeah.
So this is where you got that balance, and the net debt to market cap gives you a feel for where that price to NAV is offset by debt.
Look at Revolution Bars Group. Oh my word! I mean, we understand bars have debt, but that is ridiculous.
That is a lot of debt, and that is why they'll be closing underperforming outlets.
The
actual Christmas numbers, Christmas numbers were decent. Christmas trading was decent, but they don't make one month doesn't make up a whole year. We saw actually there were some numbers. Let me just find these from a private company. I think
by the way, let me show you. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, when we look at a market cap, then it's good for a quick glance market cap, but you have to really look at the EV. Because of course that factors in cash and debt, and then you find the EV. Is the EV on that thing? In fact, look at the.
I haven't put EV, but you've got EV to EBITDA as a
where's that then? Where's the EV EBITDA on there?
That's sort of 2/3 of the way across.
Yeah.
But there were some numbers out from a private company called Amber Taverns. They reported 20% like-for-like sales up in over Christmas, of which around sort of half, a little bit less, was price. So the good, strong Christmas, as we suspected, but it hasn't. It doesn't make up for the previous 5 months and possibly the months to come. It's very tough.
I've cut off the things there. Are there any of those there? I don't know if you can tell where have sort of better margins than other ones.
There's an operating margin. Oh, what have I done with the operating margin?
Oh, sorry, I've got to cut it off on my screen because it wouldn't fit. It was like too thin.
All right.
It went too small. The text.
So I can tell you now that the highest margin pub is Marston's.
Is it?
Yeah.
Marston's.
Brighton Pier is an interesting company. It owns Brighton Pier and some other assets. That's a decent margin business. Had a bit of a tough time lately. Young's 14%, Loungers 8%, but Loungers I would say is in a growth phase, so that kind of makes sense. So it's not a mega margin industry, but it's you've got some that are better than others. Look at various Tasty, which are these sort of small restaurant chains. They're loss making. Revolution Bars margins less than 5%. Wetherspoon's low margin as well, but we know why, because it's a pilot high, sell it cheap model. And then you say that
it's a Loch Ness monster. that's Lounge's chart.
and you want to see some growth. So we want to see EBITDA rising, we want to see turnover rising, we want to see EPS rising. And ideally we want them to be profitable. I've included a debt adjusted PE in this, to actually take into account the fact that it's a very debt driven sector. But the one that jumps out at me is I keep going back to it's Loungers. The debt, net debt to market cap. So debt is 60% of the market cap. So very manageable. Fuller's the same. Very good pub group. They didn't blow the lights out in terms of share price performance last year. So I think there's room to go with both of those companies. Lounge is very expansive. I do I like the offering. I've been there a couple of times, love it.
I think I may have been to one. I don't know if I have.
Yeah,
I think, is it one in? I don't know if they're one based in Stoke. I don't know if I have. I don't know.
No, they'll be everywhere. But not cheap. Let's say growing, fast growing.
What's different about
debt's under
lounges?
control.
What's different about them?
It's just really good. It's just you want to go somewhere to eat. You're bored of pub menus are so bland. They're always the same. Burger and chips, or sausage and mash, or whatever it might be, fish and chips. And Lounges just does it a bit differently.
You sell dogs as well. That's it.
Really nice. I mean, really well designed restaurants. Not it's very competitively priced as well. I think it's a very good company. In a tough sector.
They got 200 with 236, 230.
Yeah, not massively penetrated into the UK, so there's a lot of room for growth there. I pick them out. Fuller's as well, but it is a very good business. But Lounges is my pick of the sector, and I think there's a lot of room to go.
Oh, look what they are. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, so all right.
They're not everywhere. There's a lot of places where they're not. And that's
there are some around me, and some out Southampton area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where's your local one then? Up here somewhere. Where is it?
Funny as I said, Malden was where I was living, but that's
okay.
And they've just opened one there, which I hadn't seen before I moved. It's just east of England, very underpenetrated, but we're always underwater, so who wants to be in the east of England? Norwich. Why they've got nothing in Norwich, I don't know.
Take your thing into the pub.
There you go. Anyway.
Okay. RBC made some comment about their skint younger punters today. Oh, did they? That's interesting. Yeah.
That's behind the JD problem.
Yeah. Well, that's going to continue, isn't it? That's the thing. I mean, if it is one of these, I think holidays is a different thing. People tend to say for holidays, but I mean, I think sometimes when you can't pay the mortgage or the rent, maybe you will skip a frivolous night out. So you think, net debt 18.3.
I'm not sure. I think people like going out. I think what people might do is not have a endless stack of trainers to choose from when they do decide to go out. People have shopped maniacally for a long time. There has to be a slowdown. It has been crazy. I'm talking about JD Sport at the moment. But that's why I say, let's watch this pullback, and then I'll have some of that, because that trend will continue again. In the meantime, I think the spending shifts to leisure, and I think there are some in the leisure sector that are better positioned than others, particularly when it comes to their indebtedness.
Yeah, well, do you know what I said to Paul yesterday, and I keep saying it all the time. I said we had a little rally of a Christmas period. I do think we're in now for a sticky period for maybe a quarter, and then I think if central banks are indicating rates coming down because if people not spending, the economy's slowing massively faster than they think, then maybe that'll happen. But of course, they'll only do that because the economy's in a bit of trouble. And if the economy's in trouble, that means inflation will come down. If people are not spending, demand isn't there, inflation will come down, full stop. But like I said, it's because we're in a bad place. But the markets then will think, okay, here we go. And then so maybe second, third, fourth quarter, I don't know, but I think it'll be a good year for markets. But I think we'll have a sticky period with first quarter or so. And I said, Paul, I'm holding some cash because I believe there will be another good buying opportunity not far away.
Yeah, so, 100% agree. I haven't deployed anything recently apart from so Angling Direct was the last of it, but.
Deploy the cash.
No, I mean, I say a couple of ideas. Missed the first opportunity, but I'll wait for a little pullback and I'll buy them when they do that.
There we are. It's moving nicely. That series of highs, lows. It's getting there.
Yep. Oh, we had a comment that told us why that we'd had that nice move up over Christmas.
Lawrence,
Ken Watson.
Ken
Watson made it one of his tips for you in a Daily Mail column. Gresham House.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Geopolitical politics will hold the stocks down short term. There's a lot of elections as well, actually, isn't there?
Yeah, a lot of uncertainty on the
political about 40 to 70 elections on the world.
It's madness. Yeah.
But I think March will see an upturn. Yeah, do you know what I was thinking this day? Now, Sunak came out with end of the year or back end of the year for an election, and I think there's a budget before that, isn't there? March budget. I think they literally unleash every kind of spending incentive to get the economy going again in that budget. I think they really will, because this is last ditch attempt. So and also generally April is very bullish as well, because you've got end of financial year ISAs and all that stuff. So I think March, April, it just suits the end of the quarter. I think we'll have a good. As I said, he want to get some votes. He want to do everything to get some votes, Sunak.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting, inflation went up in France and Germany, same as the UK. Choppy waters fall, I think. S&P sugar high, yes. Bill, RBG makes some comment. Yeah, we did say that. Oh, by the way, let's go back to that quickly. So do say here, best festive season of all. However, our younger customers are still feeling the disproportionate effect of the cost of living crisis, and the national living wage will increase materially in April 2024. What do you mean, and? Therefore,
well, it means that they've got to pay more to their staff. So get that's,
oh yeah,
that's
sorry.
the retail sector.
I was thinking so the customers had an increase in their wages, but yeah, right. So yeah, so they've shut down bars.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah. So I mean, again, that's sort of like the container effect I was talking about in retail. The wage effect in leisure is problematic for this sector.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there we are. Maybe time to have a good Christmas. Maybe, like I said, sell off some or get rid of some loss-making companies. Barry Shoezone did a report on Monday. Shares starting to drift. It's on a PE under 12. Free cash flow much higher than earnings. CapEx is about to drop, and it's growing. Cash machine. It's cheap shoes economy.
Nice company.
Yeah, they've done very well.
They have specifically spoken about this in their reports, that the fall in container costs, in shipping costs, has been very, very helpful to them over the past year. So that's just something to watch out for. It won't show up in these numbers, but it's something to watch out for over the next year.
Not joking. Did I say it'll have to go in a range for a little bit there? It's gone in that range because it's risen. You've got that a lot. So it'll go in a range for a while. And it can be frustrating if you're holding a range for a long time. But do they pay dividend? I don't know if they do.
They do.
Oh, okay. Well, there we are. It's not too bad. You're being paid to hold the shares. It's not a bad thing. Anything else here? MAB had a super 2023. Does people costs, food costs, energy costs worry you with lounges, John? Does that worry you? Food costs, people costs?
Well, it's definitely a consideration, but as I say, just running the numbers over the sector. It's managing what is a difficult time on the cost front. On the sort of cost of living front. It's developing an offering that will help it take market share, and I think that's all you can ask for at a time like this.
Yeah, AI invested lounge breakfasts are superb. They have customers in throughout the day. Night plus the planning of their outlets is very scientific. Is it very scientific?
Yeah. I think it's execution par excellence in the leisure sector.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I haven't bought them yet.
Because they'll come down with sentiment. They will come down with sentiment probably. There we are. Here's some business stories. House prices rise for the first time in 8 months. In fact, I saw somewhere else. It's the third month in a row, but obviously different metrics. I don't know how they're getting that. But this is Halifax, 1.7% higher in December. Also, the slump it's still contracting. These are house builders' PMIs, and it rose to 46.8, still below 50. But at least it's up from 45.5, so it's not as bad. But I often question when it's that much of a rise, think, is that accurate? It's still contracting. But anyway, they're saying maybe you're seeing the bottom of the slump in construction. And Starmer refuses to comment to unfreezing tax thresholds if Labour wins the election, but he said he would. It was what did he say there? It will reverse the changes to inheritance tax. There we are.
I think you mentioned that Sunak wants to delay the election to have a sort of giveaway budget.
Yeah.
But I think the other reason he's delaying the election because Starmer, essentially, I feel the Labour Party had an open goal on this election, and the more he says, the more he looks like missing it.
Exactly, and I just think
give him enough rope, and
exactly, and also it is his goal to miss. You're right, that it's like it's a penalty shootout with no goalie.
Just don't go to Brighton and pose on the beach by the sea. I don't know if you remember Kinnock falling into the sea. That was the end of that.
But you know what I do feel? I do feel like being opposition is largely like being an armchair coach. looking at your football team, it's easy shouting from the sidelines, isn't it? It's really easy. But when you actually put on the pitch or you have to coach and you don't get the results you want, it's a bit different then. Pressure comes on it. And Starmer seems like this kind of guy. It goes with sentiment. It doesn't seem strong enough to make unpopular decisions. And that's what you need to do sometimes. And I think it's easy him just shouting from the sidelines. But when you get into power, we'll see how they do, because it's not that easy.
I think this election will be won, I have to say, by the party that can actually make people believe that they will deliver what it takes to make them feel better off.
Yeah, who's the best liars? That's it. Politicians are all liars. Who is the most convincing liar? That's what it comes down to. And
this one's all about living standards. I'm absolutely sure of it. This is an election about living standards. People are fed up feeling the squeeze.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like that. Just even down. I was listening to Wake Up to Money, walking the dog this morning. I listened to Wake Up to Money, and that last budget about national insurance reduction. I think but you've frozen the tax thresholds. So fiscal drag. So that a magician would call that misdirection. So it's like, look over here, we're giving something away. Meanwhile, what they're not showing you is you are going into a higher tax band, because fiscal drag. Yeah,
fiscal drag is abused.
It's misdirection, isn't it? It's misdirection. So we're giving you a little bit of national insurance. Don't mention, all the other stuff. The highest, tax bracket we've had since World War II or something. Anyway, bit of politics there. It wasn't a lot of news out there. Front page. It wasn't a lot of news out today. I mean, in fact, I did think Supreme's deal was a supreme deal.
Yes.
If you look at this acquisition of protein manufacturer, SUP. This is what Mike Ashley does a lot, doesn't he? He buys out of administrations. He got really good deals. This Food IQ, literally for 175 grand they bought it for. It's only 18 months old. It's a purpose-built, state-of-the-art, accredited automated manufacturing facility. 18 months old, 1.2 million to build. They got it for £175,000.
Smart.
That is good. That is, I mean, if you could do the equivalent of that on the stock market, that's like almost going to underpriced 10 bagger almost. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, you asked the question, why was it in administration? Probably cash flow, but and therefore what can Supreme do to actually make it work? But obviously they have an existing operation to integrate into, so it makes a lot of sense, and it makes a lot of sense for the business generally, in terms of diversification.
Exactly. They're the cash cow has been the vapes, isn't that? I think. The vapes. And this regulation, all that's very tricky. So it's a very clever move trying to diversify. This will improve their manufacturing. This is their wellness brand, manufacturing capacity by 40%.
Yeah, I think it's very across the portfolio. I like it.
Yeah. On two angles. First of all, I thought diversification is very good, and that's a very good deal. That is, cracking. You got a bit of kit there worth 1.2 million plowed into it, and it's literally 175 grand. That's a cracking. And apart from some resource stocks, not a lot going on. There we are. Anything else on the chat before we leave? UK election nailed on. 15th to 10th, 34. Halifax says 1.7%. Nationwide minus 1.8%. Yeah, UK high price. Exactly. I thought that. I mean, reform. Look at policies. They just keep saying nothing. The politicians, they do say.
Reform. Tom showed me this yesterday. There is a very comprehensive manifesto by Reform. And you might think they're a party of cranks, but some of this stuff actually makes you really think, I can't argue with that. Well,
but it's like almost like it's the old thing, isn't it? It's almost a wasted vote, you think, and.
Looking at what we've had for the last God knows how long, what vote isn't a wasted vote? But
saying that, and that's a challenger party like those, Reform or something. They need to convince people that do you really want to vote for Labour Conservative? They're very much the same. They're all lying promises. Go for something a bit different. It's not a wasted vote. It'll show them. By the way,
a lot of their policies would address basically fiscal drag, which I think is used and abused. Has been for a long time.
Is YouGov, it's rallied strongly, but a little sell-off today. Last 2 days sell-off. I think it's pretty much priced in all the electioneering doing. Marvelous stuff. John, thanks for that. Have a nice weekend. Have a nice weekend, everyone. And we'll speak to you next weeky. And, hopefully the markets will be better. I don't think they will, though. It's sticky January. It's going to be nice.
Who knows?
All right.